Welcome to Star Drops February 5, 2025. And I was going to say welcome to another never a dull moment astrological analysis. It just keeps happening over and over again. We wake up and there's a new drama. We are definitely living in extraordinary times where multiple global crises or polycrises are unfolding simultaneously. A definition in the Wikipedia of polycrisis is a term used to describe the current state of the world where multiple global crises are happening at the same time and are connected in ways that are difficult to understand. Isn't that the truth? However, beneath the chaos, there is a powerful wave of transformational light emerging, shaping a new world for us all. The key astrological window for this transformation is March 20 to April 5, with a solar eclipse on March 29 acting as a catalyst. But if we go back a couple months, I believe that this really started kicking in gear on the early January, and then culminating on the weekend, especially of February 18th through the 22nd, when Venus began connecting with Neptune and the North Node in Pisces and kicked off a whole array of planetary configurations and planets in Pisces, then soon to move into Aries, and then move back into Pisces, and then back into Aries, while exactly at the same time, this is all between February and May 2025, Mars will also move forward from Cancer back into Leo, and then turn around and go back into Cancer, then back into Leo. And this all occurred from late September 2024 all the way to June 17, 2025, concentrating primarily between February, March, and April 2025. So we have both sets, Mars on the one side retrograde, Venus, Mercury retrograde, and they're all connecting to each other, and also the outer planets also in addition to this. So we've got a huge configuration happening in the sky. Unless you're really astrology savvy, it's hard to keep track of these things, and astrologers can keep track of them, but I bet it's like burning their brain up during this cycle too, with all of these planetary alignments happening all at the same time. So this marks a major energetic shift aligned with the long anticipated exit from the Kali Yuga, double downward and upward. So it's a double Kali Yuga cycle, 12,000 years downward, 12,000 years upward, each period exactly 12,000 year cycle of darkness. And it comes out of this crazy cycle that we've all been living in, humanity, for so long, March 30, 2025. So we have an eclipse on March 29 in Aries at 9 degrees. We have Venus retrograde March 1 going through March at 10 degrees Aries. We've got Mercury moving into a retrograde March 15, I believe, at 9 degrees Aries. We have a solar eclipse at 9 degrees Aries, and these are slightly trine Mars in end of Cancer going into Leo, March and April, May, especially starting April 17. They are sextiling Uranus at late Taurus, and sextiling Pluto, early signs of Aquarius, and also conjoining Neptune, soon to go into Aries, in April-May 2020. March 30, 2025. So we've got all these configurations connecting together. The only one that's not quite fitting in is Jupiter, but then in the summer of 2025, it will move into Cancer, 0 degrees. So, or early June, July. Anyway, these alone are big planetary alignments, reinforcing the birth of a new era where the veil of illusion begins to dissolve, allowing truth and divine insight to flood our consciousness. But in addition to that, you add on the Kali Yuga and the solar eclipse, which always initiates a new, putting our attention on a new project or a new problem or a new thing that we are being compelled to move forward on March 29 for at least a good solid month. You should feel it. With all these happening all at the same time, the world is attempting to contain this influx of light and influx of proactive change, dynamic change. And I would like to add at this point that everyone's talking about the movement from Pluto from Capricorn into Aquarius. Pluto was in Capricorn from 2008, started to move into Aquarius in March, April, May 2023, went back into a Capricorn for a while, and then moved officially back into Aquarius. I believe it was November 19, 2024. Not to go back into Capricorn again for a couple hundred years. So Capricorn has to do with the oligarch, corporate, conglomerate power structures on the planet. There's always a positive sign to every zodiac sign. We need all the positives, but the negatives, when Pluto goes in, tend to also be amplified and taken advantage of by dark forces in order to really embed the negativity and the corruption of each zodiac sign as Pluto moves from sign to sign to sign. So now it's moving into Aquarius. The positive are humanitarian, Aquarian golden age ideals of individuality, everyone working together, transforming and upgrading rapidly every single existing condition, situation, agency, activity, personal, professional, global, political, everything is upgrade. Everything, money, monetary, economic, just you name it, okay? It's like an upgrade. That's what Aquarius does. It walks into a situation, sees lovingly, this is the higher aspect of Aquarius, the existing conditions going on, and analyzes how could we do this better, more efficient, bring more freedom, liberty, and success into all of these activities and projects. Let's upgrade them and bring them into the future so that everybody's happier, it's more honest, transparent, efficient, it frees up more time. That is why Aquarius has a lot to do with the future. It also rules technology. It also rules all kinds of crazy stuff like space travel, trips to Mars, new technology, cryptocurrencies, blockchains, everything that is going to be an upgraded system. The negative would be, as I've been talking about for a couple of years, that unified, all plugged into a Borg, humanity, monitored, digital, everything is monitored, everything is looked at and manipulated or controlled in societies. And so that would be the downside of the Aquarius. Of course, there's always a fine line, like how to embrace the positive moving forward and how to guard against the corruption of the Aquarius ideal. So it's very interesting. I don't care what side of the political realm you're on. I can see positives and negatives of every situation that we're in right now. So it's important. That is also very Aquarius, by the way, and it's important to stay as objective as possible, which is an Aquarian trait, to have objectivity, honesty, and efficiency, transparency, and just do what's best in the general overall upgrade and transformation of your life and other people's lives. So I have to tell you, though, that many, many, many years ago, 2016, 17, when I was thinking about Trump going into office, I was going, what the heck does this mean? Like, I couldn't believe it. Like a lot of people, because it was a brand new concept, of this person going into an office. Through several months of pondering this and meditating on this, honest to God, what came to me, and I'm going to reveal what came to me that may sound absolutely crazy, and I don't know where this came from. It hit me, he is destined to, for better or worse, transform the United States economic currency system to take control over how it's to be operated, the exchange of currency for when we go out into space and need that money system in place for exchange of goods and bartering and negotiating and purchasing. And I thought, what the heck is that coming from? That I don't even know what I just said, but that I will never forget that. It had to do with the money, the economy, space travel, and having a system that could be used anywhere in the solar system and the universe in order to have an exchange of goods. And that my sense was he was going to attempt to create the United States as the core base of the value of that currency in some capacity. So I may be wrong, it may be modified, but it kind of seems like when he announced Space Force several years ago, my antenna went up and I said, oh, this is just the beginning. Even though I kind of sense that was already in position. But now we're dealing with all the cryptocurrencies and this and that digital. So we're moving in that direction. We'll have to see if that plays out. But that was my private little prediction about 7, 8, 9 years ago. So, okay, so as this light accelerates, so does the resistance, okay? So then you're going to, because Pluto is in Aquarius, see a lot of revolutionary uprising very intensely, opposition, disruption, chaos, because that's also what Aquarius can bring out is revolutions and schisms, alienation. It doesn't necessarily create splits, but the Pluto in Aquarius at 1 degree, opposing the U.S. natal Uranus at 1 degree Leo, has been creating a split, a dividing of people's consciousness within the country and maybe the world. And that began in the spring of 2023, mildly, in the northern hemisphere. It would be the March, April, May, June 2023. And then it really came back intensely January 2024, all the way into January 10, 11, 12, 2025. That is over. Pluto opposing Uranus is done, I believe, and in the natal chart, the 1789 US chart. That is very, very intense because it's a once in 240, 50 some year cycle that will intensify polarizing between two consciousness of people in the country, and split and divide, polarize between two ideologies and two opinions and belief systems, and it's quite extreme. However, as I was writing a lot about this in the past, I thought, what if it is also in addition more of a group of individuals in the millions that are opposing and polarizing against the deep state? So I considered that could be part of it too. And that when I look at this in people's personal charts, there's usually a divorce of some sort between the two factions where they just cannot agree. And one splits off from the other. And only in time will the person or the group that splits off from the other one come to realize that they have been abused all these years. Usually there's a lot of conflict and a lot of pushback and arguing to mildly or negotiate some kind of middle way to do it more gently or to do it more, to reconcile or collaborate in some capacity. But Pluto opposed Uranus doesn't do that. It's over. And so that's what our country has just gone through. And I do believe that America, for the most part, is a reincarnation, if you want to go there, to Atlantean souls come back again, picking up the pieces of what went wrong on the last years of Atlantis, master the technology, master the AI, master the profound future advanced science, crystals, quantum energy, and this time not blow up our continent or receive some heavy karma return and then have everything fall apart in the civilization. So I believe there's enough re-embodied Atlanteans in every position in this country over the past 100 years that are really trying and conscious and aware of doing it right this time with the sponsorship of the Great White Brotherhood to advance this nation, to really help all other collaboration with other nations make it and evolve into eventually a very high, beautiful planet. That's what I believe is happening. But we have to face all of these corruptions that occur, degradations, all the cloning, all the chimeras, all of the degradation, the breakdown of morality, and every single thing that happened through the invaders coming in and dulling down the senses of the Atlanteans. We're facing that and having to work through all of that and move up in negate and dissolve and put all those corruptions in their place so that we can evolve out of it and then get back to where they were before all this corruption started. So anyway, this is a really, really big cycle. And I think that the first quarter of 2025 is expressing in the planetary configurations exactly what I'm talking about. How does all this fit in your own personal astrology? So I can only imagine what everyone is going through. Again, it doesn't matter what side of the political arena you're on or what your beliefs are with social structures. It doesn't matter. It's absolutely mind-bending. It's stressful. It's overwhelming. It's like, do any of us even have the brain bandwidth to comprehend the news every single day on new things that are unfolding? I don't think so. I'm struggling with it, and I can keep tabs on a lot of these planetary aspects and their movements and see what is doing to what energy, but it's still absolutely overwhelming. Excuse me. I find a really hard time when I am trying to convey it in writing for just an article and keep it readable and digestible. It's almost like I look every single time now over the past many months and say there isn't any way to make this simple. There's no way to create this concise and to the point. There's so much going on. And then I think, well, maybe I'll just take one thing, but then I'm leaving out so many other things that others might want to know. It also feels like I'm doing a disservice for everyone just focusing on one particular planetary aspect, like the Venus retrograde. So from last July 2024 up into January 2025, I was highly focusing on Mars. Mars, because I was worried we were going to go into a war, and I am every time Mars goes retrograde, that it's going to push us towards an aggressive confrontation. What it typically has done that I've seen over the past years is it pushes us up to the brink of it, and then big changes happen and we never go all the way in. But then who knows what is really happening behind the scenes in other countries with drone strikes and all kinds of crazy things going on. But Mars is an aggressive, assertive, intense cycle, and it started mid-September, building up through October, peaked into Leo, from Cancer to Leo on November 4, 2024, build up through Leo to 6 degrees Leo on December 6, 2024, and went station, retrograde. That is the peak of the change. That was when everything started really heating up in arguments, opposition, tenseness, drama. But then in our own lives, we could have also been feeling the pressure of what am I doing with my life? What am I doing with work, with money, with this, with that? Everything is so intense. I can't keep up. Then it started moving retrograde and went back into Cancer, which is the house of the sign of the family. It's the sign of our emotions. And wherever Mars is, there's an angst that is aggravated in that zodiac sign. I was born with Mars in Cancer. I know what it feels like to have family, money, issues, friends, community, job, work, errands, blah, 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 all bombarding you and maintaining emotional harmony and trying to get the best out of every situation. A lot of times Cancer also has to do with frugality and not spending too much, and money and our abundance and security and harmony, money and harmony, okay? Family, security, safety, harmony. You put Mars in that, And it's like boiling water. You're dealing with a lot of drama. And so anyway, that has been going on from mid-September all the way into April 17, but especially it kicked back in again on January 6th, 2025. So if you've been feeling overwhelmed, a lot of it has to do with the fact we're in a Mars retrograde. And Mars retrograde increases the intensity of the assertiveness, aggressiveness, urgency, or pressure to get something in your life figured out. And it doesn't always bring solutions. Other planets will bring solutions. Mars just stirs it up and brings it to your awareness. This is really messed up. We need to fix this. So think of money, security, abundance, safety, land, real estate, home, family issues, parent issues, children issues. It could all be raw right now in some capacity, and you're just trying to pull it all together and you don't even know where to start. It also has to do with a deep, deep emotional needs for wholeness and feeling integrated. So the drive, Mars, would be to get integrated. The drive is what is lacking in my life to feel integrated. Is there something inside of me that is in opposition to me having integration? Is there some kind of record or subconscious pattern that is blocking it and keeps sabotaging it? And how will I get to the bottom of that and discover what this could possibly be? So this is a cycle we're in, and then it goes back into Leo April 17 going into June 17, which is back into more authority, dignity, self-respect, drama, performance, and a lot of times it will even spread into leadership and powerful management, administrative capacity, and taking charge and having confidence. So that is the whole cycle of Mars. While we're on the subject of Mars, it is going to make some hard aspects that create volatile situations. It is making good ones, but I'm just going to talk about the hard ones right now. So I'm just going to run these dates through really quickly. This is the Mars making contact to the United States natal chart. Mars conjoined Moon, October 2nd to 8, 2024. Mars square Neptune, October 11 to 16, 2024. Mars conjoined Jupiter, October 17 to 19. And I'm going to stop there, okay? And Mars opposed Pluto, October 31st to November 6th. And Mars conjoined the volatile, unpredictable combo with Mars and Uranus, November 6th, November 3, 4, 5, and 6. That was the one I'd written about just before the United States elections. I was so nervous about that. Volatile, testy, explosive, high electric energy. It's going to actually, it said it went all the way to November 10. Okay, I'm going to stop there because on December 31st, it repeated all over again. Okay? And that's because Mars went backwards and ran over those same planets all over again. So the planets are the Moon, Jupiter, and Uranus in the U.S. 11th house of humanity and the people of the country, and any particular type of positive and or extremely disruptive, unstable people, situations, emergencies, crashes, blackouts, electrical internet problems, or acceleration of futuristic tech advancement and rapid growth and change. It can create a pocket of time of volatile potential disruptions and emergencies. And so, wasn't there there was a Mars conjoined Uranus in the sky back in the first Trump assassination attempt in 2024. All the astrologers predicted it. something unusual, difficult, challenging, disruptive could occur on this weekend, and it happened. So that's how Mars and Uranus work together. I was born with this in Cancer, Leo. I know what it feels like throughout my whole life. It's been a crazy ride. So a lot of these planetary things I talk about, I've had firsthand experience with them and or observed them. So they're like logged in my brain. I remember this. I know this trend. It keeps happening over and over again and pretty much has the same results. So now it's going to start repeating. It repeated on January 31st with Mars conjoining Uranus again. And then that continued up to January 6th. Okay. And at the same time, it opposed the United States Pluto. It opposed the transiting Pluto, which I do want to talk about separately, but I just thought I would let you know that was happening simultaneously, which is in itself its own volatile danger cycle. Then Mars began to conjoin Jupiter on January 18th through the 28th, peaking on the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th. Then it began conjoining the Mars again on February 13, 14, 15. Mars conjoined Moon all the way to March 5. Okay, so every time I'm giving you one of these dates, when I say conjoin, that means it's a trigger. Conjunction is like hammer to an anvil. It's like a spark that ignites of some event. Jupiter has to do with morality, bills, ethics, integrity, policies, social structures, and ideas. When Mars conjoins the Moon, it hits the feeling world and the emotions of people. And it also has to do with issues of security and money and safety and boundaries and borders and things like that. When Mars conjoins Uranus, it's explosive. It can be sudden traumatic events, or it could be thrusts and triggers and intense drive to implement space travel, cryptocurrencies, economic change, technology, medical, blockchain, crazy ideas. It just takes us into the future, and it can go so fast and so rapid. People can't have a hard time in general keeping up with some of this stuff when Mars conjoins Uranus. So all of these are kicking off, and all the way up into the March. And then March 5, as I'm looking here, March 5, it all turns around and returns again. So we've got it all in the past September, October, November, into December. Then we have the January, February, into March, and then we've got the March, April, May. So Mars will conjoin the Moon again on March 5, and right around February 14 to March 5, Mars will conjoin the Jupiter again March 29 into April 1. And let me get the third table up here. And Mars will conjoin the Uranus again on April 17, going to April 22nd. So even though something really volatile or crazy might not happen exactly on those dates, just because it keeps running over those planets in the 11th house of unpredictable events and that involve the people in the world and the country. And by the way, Uranus also rules aircraft and air travel and space travel and accidents, and Mars has to do with explosives, and so you get the picture. But just because it keeps running back and forth, it's like rubbing salt on a wound. It's like it keeps igniting dynamite over and over and over and over again. But we cannot also avoid the fact that it's doing positive, outrageous, unconventional things in the world at the same time, because Uranus and Mars have to do with dynamic community organizational change and upgrades for humanity, and Jupiter will bring in the society, and the moon eventually in the positive ideal would have to do with, for the betterment of thriving and clean water and food and medicine and way of life for the people. And so there's so many things that come under this that might seem intense, but they're like, is it necessary? Some of it necessary to just push it in fast and transform everything and then let it all settle. So I remember when I was young, my mother used to say, you've got chaos in your wake. You run through things and then there's just a chaos following behind you, but things were getting done. And I blew it off for so long until I had children and realized I don't think this is a good example for my family. So I had to modify it and I had to change, but I understand the emergency and the dynamic of this combination. And so the United States country is getting this, which means it's funneling through key people in this country to be dynamically, impulsively, I think, some of them, or internally acting on this energy. Okay, now one more thing. Mars is also squaring Neptune, which I also have. I find this really interesting. I'm giving you for the first time some clues into my crazy astrology of my birth chart, but I get this one. So when did Mars start to square Neptune? And that creates like a detective. Like, you are an investigator, you are a bit jaded, you have been around the block, you have really strong antenna out for shenanigans and deception and layers of hidden agendas and motives. Not that everybody's like bad with these things. Most people I found out over my life do like hiding things and don't like people knowing why they're really wanting to do something. They just don't want it to be honest, and they have a right to do that. But sometimes it's not healthy, and sometimes it's counterproductive to like a friendship or an organization or a community. And if there's ulterior agendas that aren't being spoken out loud or shared, or there's inconsistencies with a message that people keep giving to other people in a relationship or a group, then there's mistrust and fear and a breakdown and dissolving of the Mars in Cancer security feeling. Okay, so that is what the whole United States has been going through since October 11. Imagine. And here are the three primary dates for Mars square Neptune. Mars in Cancer square Neptune, and it was Mars in Cancer square the United States Neptune at 21 degrees Libra. That was back in October 11 all the way to October 17. Please spread these dates out like 2 to 3 weeks. Or you could even just say, this is going on in October and it's not going to be over until April or May 2025, because it keeps coming back. So it's a theme. It's like a 5, 6, 7 month theme. So then you have this returning again. I'm going to get the second table up. You have this square coming back again, January 28, 2025, up through March 27, 2025. And it's the most intense on March 24. And let's see, and also January 28. January 28 was the second, and the third was March 27, this coming March 27. Again, spread it out. Like, it's pretty much the entire time of January, February, March. So a lot of confusion, a lot of misunderstanding. Most likely, a lot of hidden agendas, plans, and reasons and motives for things happening so quickly, rapidly, the way they are, and creating a lot of doubt, a lot of misunderstanding, confusion, and fear, and scrambling around feeling like, do we even have any security? Where is our security? Who can we count on? What is going on? So Neptune, Mars square Neptune can also be people being lied to, such as double speak regarding the drones and the UFO plasma orbs, the fog, the chemicals analyzed in the white particles that are descending on all these fogs all over the United States and the world. Why is that happening? Why is all this happening all of a sudden, and all these plane accidents and all these light flickering in businesses and parking lots and downtown areas all over the United States, randomly, repeatedly for hours, out of nowhere, everywhere at the same time? Why is all this happening? This would be Mars square Neptune. So what it will do, it will grab a certain section of the population, Mars in Cancer, and say, I am going to get square with this Neptunian delusion, illusion, lies, distortions, subterfuge, and deceptions. I'm going to get to the bottom of it so that we can reestablish our Cancerian security base. So that is ongoing from last October, building really intensely, end of January, 28th especially, all the way through March. And then once it gets past March, it's gone. It's squaring the United States Neptune. Now, one more Mars transit. Mars is also opposing Pluto. And there were 3 dates for that. So Mars in the sky is opposing Pluto in the sky. And that will create like two rams bucking heads. It'll be two powers confronting each other, or two systems that are in a tension, conflict, or an oppositional standoff, kind of stressful energy. It could create also assassination attempts, destructive attempts, natural catastrophes, all kinds of crazy things happening geophysically. I don't know which one of these might even be triggering certain solar disruptions. Sometimes planetary alignments can definitely upset the sun. So the dates for these were October 28 to November 4, 2024, December 31st, 2024, through January 6, 2025. And then the last cycle is in April. Let me just get it here. April 20 up to April 30. Okay? I hope you all are getting some idea out of this. It's helping understand these. I wouldn't be talking about these if they weren't rare and unusual. So these are the hard transits, along with all the beautiful Venus transits that we're also having at the same time. So my question was originally, if we're going into this leaving Kali Yuga cycle and all these transformational, beautiful planets of Saturn, Neptune, Node, Mercury, Venus, in Pisces, Aries, and the solar eclipse in Aries all at once, and for the next 5 months, that's upgrading and transforming a lot of beautiful ideas and feelings and plans and self-image and self-worth of our life. How is everything feeling like it's falling apart? So I do believe it's because of all these things I've described so far. This is the reason why. It's the Pluto going into Aquarius for the next 21 years or so, 20 years. And it's the Mars right now, retrograde, making all these challenging aspects. Okay, so as this light accelerates, that is coming down on the planet, and it is a lot of light that's been talked about since, as far as I remember, 2008, 2009, 2010, there is a resistance. Some energies that live in, through, and around this planet resist it. And we're witnessing two realities unfolding at once, one of rising awareness and expansion, and another of disintegration and chaos. A major factor in this turbulence is this Mars, which we've been describing, which has been in an intense retrograde cycle since late 2024, fueling global disruptions, political unrest, natural disasters, personal challenges. It has to do with money and security, especially for a lot of people. Rising prices and employment situations and threat to security and all that. It's not over yet. It's going to keep going and going for another 2 to 3 months. This Mars influence continues through June 2025, only because we're looking for Mars to leave the entire circuit of Cancer Leo, and it will hit finally the end of Leo, 29 degrees, and be out of Leo on June 17, 2025. And particularly as it clashes with key planetary positions, intensifying both conflict and exposure of hidden issues, which we just went through. The question is, how do we navigate this time? We have to have a core belief and devotion or meditative practice or mantra or affirmations in the morning, and write it down and remind ourselves every morning what we're here for, that this is only a cycle. We're in the most intense beginning stages of the transformation of the world. It's really happening. We're really living through it. And we have to keep grounded. We have to be solid. And whether these things are planetary, whether the chaos is a reaction to the transformation, manipulated or natural, it stirs everything up to the surface. So instead of getting sucked into this and feeling like, sometimes I feel like one of those orange, what do you call them, buoys bobbing on the waves of the ocean. Instead of that, and instead of getting sucked in under the waves, we need to align ourselves with higher, inspiring reading materials, conversations, friendships, devotional services. Sure, do your yoga. I have my practices in the morning. It's crucial to ground and center yourself. And what I've seen over the years is more and more people are realizing they need that ritual in the morning, first thing in the morning. Even in times of uncertainty, the unfolding planetary energies are guiding us towards a greater awakening and change. As Mars retrograde direct in Cancer Leo, which started again late September 2024 up through June 2025 is occurring, we're called to utilize the best of Mars's impetus to rearrange our security needs, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and also when Mars goes into Leo, accept our Leo dignity, heart expansion, magnanimous love, and self-respect. It's time for integrating our best selves more than ever before. So stay tuned. I hope this helped, and hang in there.